Remember Wednesday.
Did you do it on command for our boy David?
Did David say we want to do?
He said transition into Remember Wednesday.
I actually didn't. I was just hearing you guys say Remember When, so I'm like,
Asking
okay.
you shall receive, my friend.
People yearn for the member berries.
Yeah, listen, we got good transitions here on this show where we set each other up. It's like, hey, you remember when this? Well, how about this? Let's do a little Remember Wednesday. Like it's a good transition thing. So, anyways, and what you brought up, Curtis, was one that I really wanted to get into because I think it's, at least in my opinion, funny. I don't know if anyone else will find the humor, but the thing with Cody Kennedy and where he's at for Sam Pittman. So, do you remember when Cody Kennedy was a Broyles Award semifinalist at Arkansas? This is a thing, folks. Like, it wasn't like, oh, he was on the watch list. No, he in 2021 was on the Broyles Award semifinalist list for the Razorbacks. Y'all remember that?
Buddy, not only do I remember that, I remember when Cody Kennedy was Arkansas's tight ends coach for like 2 weeks.
Yes.
So,
dude.
Also, former Tulane Green Wave offensive line coach Cody Kennedy. He did a great job at Tulane, but yeah, literally, because 2021 was his first year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the year he was the finalist or the semifinalist. If I'm recalling correctly. Yeah, it started off where it was like Cody Kennedy is like a prodigy.
Yeah, and also that was, people that may not remember how that all worked out. Brad Davis was the offensive line coach Sam Pittman brought in, and dude was incredible, a really good offensive line coach. And then they brought in Cody Kennedy as the tight ends coach, where Sam Pittman was grooming him, if you will, to transition into an offensive line coach. Well, Brad Davis then went to LSU after Ed Orgeron got fired. And then which I think Pittman probably regrets now, but he's like, all right, well, I'll just move him over to offensive line coach, even though he's not ready. Was moving in. And we saw what the result of that was. It went pretty south pretty quickly. So, and then that also brought in Dow Loggins as the tight ends coach because of the fact that they moved him over. And now Dow Loggins at South Carolina, and you got Cody Kennedy at Mississippi State. And
so Sam Pittman seems like he really likes to bring people in at that tight ends coach position to groom them for something or the other, big groomer.
Big groomer, that's Sam. Yeah. Was Barry Linney, was he being groomed for O-line coach back in the day when he was the tight ends coach with Pittman, when Pittman was the O-line coach, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That.
He may have been, I think it was more for the offensive coordinator spot and also because Bielema wanted an Arkansas guy. But I do remember, Remember Wednesday, that Barry Lunny wanted the offensive line or offensive coordinator spot or bust when Pittman arrived, and Pittman was like, no. And then that's when Barry Lunny left for Illinois. So,
yeah, not a fan.
Well, Barry Linney, he also coached. He was the head coach for a couple games there, right?
Two
games.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
it just almost beat Missouri, right? Or they played pretty well in that game.
It was a stretch.
It was like a
played better
game or something. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? Was it? I thought it was like. Was it like 24-10 or something like that?
Maybe it was something like that. Was that at War Memorial?
Yeah, I think so. No. This one might have been at Missouri.
It was at Missouri, and it was also Barry Odom's last game as the Missouri head coach. So.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gosh.
Went out on a win.
all these different connections being made for this man.
Went out beating Jack Lindsey. I mean, if that doesn't keep your job, then I don't know what will.
I felt so bad for Barry Lunny when he just got thrown in. He's like, hey, first game as your head coach. Guess what you get to do? What? You get to go down and play at LSU, the best team ever assembled offensively, and you get to start a freshman quarterback. Fun.
Yeah.
But the game was in Little Rock.
Was it really?
Yeah. That sounds right.
Ew.
Yeah. 24-14 in Little Rock. Crazy time.
That was way closer than I remembered it in my brain.
Yeah. Was that the Jack Lindsey start or something?
The Jack Lindsey start because he had led the touchdown drive against LSU the week before. And I think KJ was banged up. KJ got hurt in that LSU game. And Nick Starkville was hurt.
Remember when
Ben Hicks? So they
remember when Jack Lindsey started a game at quarterback for Arkansas?
John Stephen Jones had started a few games before. Good Lord, man, dude, this really got me upset talking about this again.
Dude, Chad Morris in those 2 years, they had 8 different starting quarterbacks in 2 years.
Let's name them.
All right, well you got Cole Kelly.
Ty Story started it.
Oh yeah,
Cole Kelly started, then Ty Story,
then Connor Noland, Razorback baseball great. Those were the 3 that started that year. And then the 5 that started the next year was Ben Hicks, Nick Starkville, You had Jack Lindsay, you had John Stephen Jones, and you had KJ Jefferson.
Incredible, man. That's just incredible.
My goodness.
Wow.
And I love the fact that Connor Nolan was the quarterback in the game. They beat Tulsa 20-0.
Undefeated,
And,
yeah.
Yeah. And then the next game, after starting him, again, it's Chad Morris years, but it's just like, I'm not going to start him again. Not saying that Connor Nolan was amazing, but it's like, dude, why'd you start him against Tulsa if you're not going to give him some chance to get it going?
They played Connor Nolan against Missouri that year at Missouri, and they lost like 31-0.
38.
But I remember him coming in and having a couple drives, and I was like, "Future, huh?"
Oh gosh, those were the bad times where you just roll the dice. I'll tell you that, you guys, where our tailgating spot is, what you guys know and where it's at. I remember that's really where our tailgate started getting some momentum because we were just being given lot 44 passes for free. It's like we had 3 of them for one game. So we just like took up the whole lot out there just tailgating and didn't even go into the game. Those were good times.
Hey, remember when it was lot 44?
Yes. And I hate when that stuff happens, when they change it for no reason. It's like, oh, now it's right. It's like lot 300 now. They're in the pit. It just makes it more complicated.
Hey, remember when Connor Nolan was the Saturday starter and also practicing football throughout the year? And then he started to obviously he was throwing like 85 by the end of the baseball season. And they're like, why? I wonder why he's so fatigued. Like, well, like that might be it.
Yeah. Playing for Chad Morris will do that to a man when it comes to baseball. But yeah, I love how all this started about Cody Kennedy being the offensive line coach and the Broyles Award semifinalist. If you remember the win that all was. I had a few comments that were thrown in here, like Finch was just one of these. I remember when we thought the biggest name we were talking about was Josh Cohen.
Man, listen, me and Scotty were going through it at the time because they lost their whole freaking front court. The deal with Muss was weird. Like the staff was complaining to us about not having any NIL. And then, here comes, the 6'10" dude who literally could not dunk a basketball. Nicest kid in the world. And he's skilled. I don't think it would have worked in the SEC. But like we went over to the Graduate and interviewed him and everything. But the Razorback fans were skeptical about that one. And that's fair, man.
I'll tell you, and I think Josh Cohen's going to be he's probably going to be pretty good for Muss. He's like all post game.
Yep.
Which is like cool, but I'm like, is Arkansas going to run the offense through him? Like they're just going to throw him on the block, and that's just going to be their offense. Like,
when he's never done that with a guy. Yeah,
I'm glad that the Arkansas basketball program has gone in a different direction. I'll just say that. Yeah,
I think we all are very glad that that's happened.
We were sitting with him and interviewing him just in the lobby at the Graduate, and was just holding my phone and recording on my phone or whatever. And he was a big hands guy, like with his answers or whatever, and he just smacked my phone out of my hand like across the lobby in like the middle of an answer. It was hilarious. But
you talking about him or Riley?
Josh Cohen. Yeah. And it makes you wonder if maybe he was already influenced by the what were some of the things they were calling Riley? A thug, a goon. A goon was the big one. Yeah.
Just it's like that was okay. Here's another remember when Riley was like public enemy number one in the sports world for this student at the Kentucky newspaper that was talking about we are against violence against the media, and I'm like, my brothers in Christ, you guys are not covering Watergate, okay? Like you're not going over. Like, it was so absurd, and I felt, and I remember all of us were tweeting our support for Riley, like all y'all are dumb for making this a big deal, and it was just so stupid. Those were dumb times, all because of a video where all you see is his hand go up there, and then that's it. Poor Riley. Glad he's still on the team though.
Yeah, me too. Good fella.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. Also, I wanted to bring up this on a Remember Wednesday because me and Curtis got reminded of it too last night. Remember when we did the John Calipari got hired live stream?
Insane. Yeah, when Hayden was sharing some of that stuff with us on X last night, I was like, wow, man. First of all, I remember when X was Twitter, but that was just so surreal. It still doesn't feel like it's been like 6 months,
April
more than
7th.
that.
Yeah, April 7th, I think is when it happened.
It's been a while. Crazy. And then, Friday, I think it officially becomes real. On the sidelines, coaching a game, as a Razorback. That's nuts, dude.
Dude, I cannot wait to see what Bud Walton Arena is going to look like.
Slobber hog.
I'm gonna cry.
It won't stop being cool until like Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, like seeing John Calipari as the head coach, when every time they introduce him, it's like, yep, that's the head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then when he's getting interviewed, when he's getting looked at, when we do the over-unders on games and things being mentioned by the broadcast team. Gee, I wonder how many times it's going to be mentioned that he was Kentucky's head coach once. I feel like that's probably going to get brought up on the broadcast.
Oh, the graphics. Yeah.
It's just going to be, it's going to be really annoying.
He'll do the good and bad segments. You know, it's like him cutting down the nets and the Final Fours. Oh, top 10 all-time wins. And then it'll be like the music changes and it'll be St. Peter's and Oakland celebrating. We'll see it so many times.
Suddenly Tom Rinaldi comes on there and be like, there was a time where John Calipari lost his way. Like, okay, all right, relax, everybody. But yeah,
he's about to go on a freaking recruiting tear too. He's getting ready to put together one of those like vintage Kentucky freshman classes, except it'll be like 4 guys instead of 9. It's gonna be fun, man.
See, I can't wait. So we got people in the chat that are talking about how that was like the best live stream ever, and they said it was like 6 straight hours. I think we live streamed that night for 3.5 straight.
Yeah,
which was by far our longest live stream, but it was worth it, man.
When it all happened, cause I mean, at the time y'all started the live stream, it wasn't an official, like it wasn't like we weren't even really sure it was real. And then it kind of just built and builds and okay, now it's really like Jeff Goodman's tweeting about it. Oh, so-and-so's tweeting about it. It was awesome.
Yeah, when the first tweet came out, I was with Michelle. I was in the Andy's drive-thru getting some ice cream. And then me and John started texting back and forth. I was like, I guess I'm pulling up.
Yeah.
And I
was like, I'm going live for this, man. This is too good. This is too good not to start talking about it. But I also believe at that point, at least only on our YouTube live stream, we had 4,500, 5,000 people watching at once, which for those of you who don't know, like, live stream watchers, you can come and go or whatever, but that type of number is just insanity. Like that is high level people watching like the Pat McAfee show type stuff. And sometimes they don't even get those numbers. So
I mean, we probably won't get 4 digits again until something stupid happens.
Until they're replacing Pittman or something.
Yeah. And then they get Nick Saban out of that. Maybe then it'll
shout out to Westmore. Glad Westmore's getting his flowers. Yeah, Westmore. Westmore with the out of the nowhere scoop of the century from Westmore.
Yeah. I was still like nervous about it, but I'm glad it was him and not some other chotch that sucks in the media that was doing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's got at least somebody that I do like and respect. But Finch was saying, he's like, wasn't it Ellis that nonchalantly strolled in? Like he rolled out of bed like 30 minutes into it.
I mean, dude, it was like 11:30 p.m.
Yeah, it was late.
And I was like, I'm just going to go pull up just because this is historic. And then I recorded some stuff afterwards. And it was a good time. But yeah, that's how long the stream was, that I had a long time. Like I was in bed and then I was like, should I go? And I was like, if they're still going by at this time, I'll go ahead and go.
Yeah, that was a crazy time that I think I remember how many times Curtis will be like, hey, if nothing else changes, we'll end the stream here in like 10 minutes. And then it just kept going and going and going. Yep. Doing that and then our airport live stream we did when we were waiting on him to get off the plane.
Dude, that week was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Nobody ever saw it coming a mile away. And man, those were good. That was fun though. That was a good time. That was a good remember when.
Well, and then he got Big Z pretty quick. So he had one player and then it was forever before they started getting other guys to pop. And we're like, what the hell is going on here, man? I remember when we had Lawson Blake in, we were interviewing him about pick and rolls with Big Z because there were only 2 guys that were going to be on the roster. It took them a long time to start getting dudes to flip. Of course, it was when we were doing our tour of Central Arkansas. It was like they had a commitment every day while we were down there. But
Carter Knox while we were at Rock and Roll Sushi.
Yep, that's right.
Man, that was quite the time. We even had we were doing the live stream that night as well. There were so many things that came from it, but one of the things I remember laughing about the most was another Remember When Kentucky. They're like, we're going after Billy Donovan, and like all these names are getting thrown around.
Nate Oates,
Nate Oates, and Hurley. It's like, okay, sure. And that's when I always knew that Kentucky really was outside of reality and how they viewed themselves, that was when it was probably the most evident. When they thought that Billy Donovan was the number one target, like the number one guy on their list, Billy Donovan. It's like, okay.
Well, look,
That says all I need to know.
Mark Pope is like the high 3-star that really is better than a 3-star that is a diamond in the rough type of thing. Like, he's a good basketball coach who's like not a flashy name. Nobody wants to bring in the high 3-star that they have to like kind of sell or like, no, he's actually got some potential. He's going to be pretty good. You want to just get the number one overall player. And so it just was so funny to see Kentucky do the mental gymnastics where they were like, we're going to get Nate Oates, we're going to get Hurley, we're going to get whatever. Well, this guy, if you look closely at his resume, not bad. His offense is, it's like if you have to explain, it's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was really the only ones I had in the Remember Wednesday. Do you guys got any more you want to bring up?
I've got one
move
real
on.
quick.
Yeah.
So I want to remember when the last 2 trips Arkansas has had to Starkville, because they've both marked like very important times. One, let's start with the good. The 2020 trip to Starkville was obviously Turn That Damn Jukebox was born. They beat not Will Rogers. Who was that quarterback?
Oh, dude.
It
Yeah.
was KJ Costello.
Yes.
Who the week
That's
before,
right.
he at this point in time, he had like the 3rd best Heisman odds. It was crazy. But Arkansas locks him up. Greg Brooks has a pick 6. Bumperpool had 30 tackles. Hudson Clark got his first PT. Arkansas wins their first game under Sam Pittman. And it was just an awesome moment, kind of a moment that, it began the whole era. It was a fun time. And then in 2022, when they went to Starkville, was when Cade Fortin got the start.
Yeah, man.
And I'll be honest with you, I view it as the beginning of the end.
Yes.
And now that end has been delayed for a while now, but that was at least when the honeymoon of Sam Pittman ended, because Arkansas was coming off a 9-4 year. And so going into 2022, there was like plenty of buzz, plenty of optimism. The A&M thing happens, which I guess really was the beginning of the end. You lose to Alabama, you lose, KJ Jefferson goes down. And in this weird thing where it's like at practice, they're not letting us say anything. They're like holding a gun to our head and be like, do not talk about KJ Jefferson. Cade Fortin
You do
gets
not
the
speak
nod.
his name.
Yeah, Cade Fortin gets the nod, and Malik Hornsby comes off the bench and throws for 300 yards or whatever he did. Like, just a very bizarre thing, but they get blown out by Mississippi State. And so it's just kind of funny how much the world and the program has changed from 2018 when they lost like 52-0 with Chad Morris to 2020. You had this awesome Sam Pittman moment to 2022. Things started getting a little awry to now 2024. It's must-win territory. The program rests on Saturday.
Why did you skip the best game in program history, which was the 2023 game against Mississippi State?
I was
Sure
just
you
thinking of trips to Starkville.
Okay.
Well, and
Yeah.
also,
It's
I will always skip that game if I can. But also, Curtis, I will actually say this. I thought about this yesterday on the show, but I didn't want to bug John. Arkansas played Mississippi State last year, also the same date that the UFC was in Abu Dhabi. Because I remember watching both of those things back to back, which I'm about to do again.
Yep.
But for that, I was at Dave & Buster's in Birmingham last year for the Arkansas Mississippi State game.
That's right, because we were leaving Birmingham from SEC Media Day as you were getting there for wedding and everything else that was going on. That's
Yeah.
Mm.
Really
I remember-
technically Uber, I guess.
Yeah. I remember when Bill Self was almost sort of Arkansas's head coach.
Me too.
Remember
Me
that?
too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now he makes his return or his debut. It's the first time he's been in Bud Walton, right?
I would
Yeah.
imagine. I mean,
Yeah,
when's the
it
last
is.
when's the last time Kansas has been to Bud Walton? Have they ever been?
When he was at Illinois, they played, but I believe that was in in Alltel Arena in Little Rock, if I'm not mistaken.
Might be
So
right.
Not to be confused with Verizon or Simmons Bank.
yeah, or Simmons Bank or whatever, that big arena in North Little Rock.
Only Bryce Mitchell can do that. So.
Yes. But yeah, so it may be his first trip actually to Bud Walton, but yeah, that was that was fun. I do remember you brought up the Mississippi State game, which I know we're talking about more than that, but you think about all 4 games against Mississippi State, something's been pretty significant in it, where you mentioned the first in this one that they had on the road, but then the first time they beat Mississippi State in Fayetteville in 2021, I remember that was one of the more impressive games Arkansas had under Pittman because Mississippi State went down the field, took the lead, and with 5 minutes to go, Arkansas was like, touchdown or bust. They can't have a field goal. They have to have a touchdown. and they went right down the field and scored. So I was like, that was like, oh man, okay. They answered the call. KJ Jefferson answered the call. Dominique Johnson, I think, ran it in for a touchdown. And just somehow, with less than a minute left, Mississippi State still had a chance to win it with the field goal. But luckily, their kickers were trash.
That's when Mike Leach opened up the competition,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's right. And Sam Pittman laughed and giggled. Shoot. But then you had the 7-3 game last year, which was the worst game in Sam Pittman's era. So you have a lot of significant games against Mississippi State.
That was a tough watch, man.
The Mississippi State team, it's like it marks the eras, It's
right.
a time where we get to reflect on where we were at the last time. That's what's cool about playing the same teams every year.
Mm-hmm. It is fun. But Mississippi State, for whatever reason, I guess they're 2-2 against him. Is that right?
Under Pittman?
Yeah.
That sounds right.
2-2 should be. Oh, I'm not gonna say should be. They deserve to lose a game 7-3 last year. They really deserve that.
I know. Yeah, they earned that one.
They did, absolutely.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.